we have the highest sales tax rate in the entire country. Los Angeles, one of the highest sales tax rates in the entire country. Sales tax are regressive. They affect the single mom who goes out and buys a hamburger, or the family who wants to go buy a widget. But you can look it up and you can see that we have higher sales tax rates than Los Angeles, New York City, and New Orleans, Louisiana.
Let me just comment on that real quickly. The state of California has a 10 to 12% income tax on everybody. Arkansas is 5%, and we're lowering it, okay? So, and their property taxes, 5 times what we pay at least. So now, it is 9.5% here, but that's what it is through the whole state, because the state doesn't get much money from property taxes. Our property values are low, and our property taxes are lower than all these cities on the east and west coast. So it's not a fair comparison. New York State's got a gigantic 9.5% tax. The city of New York has a 2 or 3% tax. I did income taxes for 40 years. I filed returns personally in California and New York, and I know. And ArcBest filed returns in California and New York, so I know what they paid as well. There are giant corporate taxes there. Our corporate taxes are lower, and that helps us attract business. So, Mr. McCutchen's right. If you go to every city in the whole country, Arkansas looks a little high, but it's because these other taxes are low. It makes up for it. But within the state of Arkansas, we're in line, and you heard what I read. All the cities up north are 9.5%. Conway's a little lower, but there are some cities that are higher. I didn't read any of the ones that are higher, but there are some cities in Arkansas that are higher.
In 2012, we said that the tax that's for parks and fire would sunset in 10 years. Now here we are today. We're asking for more money. So we've talked about sunsetting. These taxes never sunset. We've had a street tax since 1985 that we're generating $20 million plus a year on it. Now let me say where I come from on this. I say that when the board voted on November 16th for 20 years for fire and police, that was too much. You didn't blink an eye. You didn't have one conversation when we were going to raise money, $3 million for parks, $3 million for fire for 20 years. I had a press conference, and I proposed that we have a 5-year period across the board. So I'm not saying none, although that case can be made. On the consent decree, I've said 5 years and raised the freeze for everyday families to 3 years because we need accountability. We've had this board has been part since January of 2015, Kevin, and we operated under a sham confidentiality order for 6 years until it was brought up in June of last year. And said that we could not discuss the consent decree. I've asked for 5 years, and here's the reasoning behind that. I've asked for 5 years across the board. Okay, that raises 5 years. That's $15 million for parks. That's $15 million for the fire. That's $75 million. But if we have a 5 year, then this board may be here at that time. The mayor, Mr. Gefkin may be here at that time, but we've got many contingencies. We've got a federal lawsuit that is going to be decided probably in the next 6 months, a year, whatever. That could lessen the burden. We've asked for state grants. We've asked for FEMA money. So there's a lot of contingencies. So 5 years is a reasonable time. It gives us the money we need, but it holds this board accountable. If you're not transparent with the voters after 5 years, then they're not renewing. But you're going to have just a second. You're going to hang on just a second. You're going to have accountability by Mr. Gefkin. If he wants to be non-transparent like has happened, if he wants to fudge on the numbers, then there's going to be accountability. And if we have a moratorium, a 3-year, not a 2-year moratorium, at one point the document said a 4-year moratorium, but somehow that vanquished. So we need, I'm proposing at least a 3-year moratorium on sewer rates. And I'm also asking this board to commit to the same 3 years to tell these people in this audience that you are not going to raise their water rates either. You said that they haven't raised them, then commit tonight, promise to us.
Point well taken.
Just a second. That you
No,
are
point
not.
well taken. Wait a minute. Point well taken. We know exactly where you come from, I do, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate